Hey, Gwendolyn. Let me unmute you. Oh my gosh, Shirley, good to have you on. Let me unmute people so we can hear y'all. Hey, oh my gosh, Shirley, I was just thinking about you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you, and I'm very happy to see you.
Oh, I'm so glad you're on the call. Yay.
Well, since Gwendolyn said it was the day before her birthday and it was all this special stuff, I thought, wow, I can't miss this. I might have to go after an hour. I don't know how long the call is supposed to last.
Yes.
But I had a previously scheduled call in an hour, and I emailed to see if I could go later, but I haven't heard back. So
no worries. Jump off when you need to. No big deal. I'm going to be recording it, so I'll be sending a recording out.
Oh, great. Okay.
So you can always go back and look at the replay. And hello, Kathy. Glad you're on.
Kathy, Mary.
Kathy.
This is a Zoom call, so we look at each other.
Yes.
There you are. Yes.
Oh, it's so good to see you. What a great surprise. Welcome, Veronica. So glad you're on the call. We're going to be starting in just a second. I know that people are jumping on. So Shirley, I'm going to mute you right now. Okay, great. And then everybody else is muted. So for those of you that are coming on, if you've never worked with Zoom before, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little microphone to the left that says mute. And so that you should have a line through it, meaning that we can't hear you, but you can hear us. And then there's also a little video camera. So like, for instance, if I click on it, it's just going to leave my picture up there, but you can still hear me. So you can always stop your video if you need to, and then click it back on, but you'll still stay on the actual call. The other thing to know is at the bottom, there's this little bubble that says chat. And so you can actually go into the little chat, you click on it, and a little box will show up, and there's a little thing that says to. Okay, this is important. So when it says to, it'll say everyone. So if I say hello, everybody receives a message. Or I can choose someone on the call. So I can click on that blue button, and like, for instance, I could choose Gwendolyn, and I could send her a private message. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are sending to the people you need to send to. So you don't want to send a private message to the group when it only wants to be sent to a particular person. In general, I just ask that in chat you use it actually in order to ask questions. Hey, is that Tina? Who is that? On Samsung. Yeah, that is Tina. How are you? So you can use the chat to ask questions while Gwendolyn is presenting. If something comes up. And
you're all muted.
Yeah, y'all are all muted. Hi, Utah. And then I'll referee those questions and then share those with Gwendolyn as you type them into the chat while she's doing the presentation. So that's what you can use the chat for. We have all these beautiful people on the call. I know more people may jump on later, and I know some of you have to jump off early, and that's no problem. We're going to keep this recorded so that you will have access to watch it later. So I'm going to go ahead and Gwendolyn introduce you, and then we're going to go into just a little grounding to get everybody here. And then we're going to have some fun with the solstice energy. You know how Gwendolyn loves to have fun, as her wonderful little mystic muse energy loves to come out during these times. And so we're going to have fun co-creating. We're going to be talking.
Yes, can you hear me, Linda?
Yes, I can.
Does my sound good? Okay.
Sounds very good. And so we're going to be doing some fun co-creation today, and I know that you'll receive great benefit from the gifts that Gwendolyn brings. So I'm so happy she was able to join us. So Gwendolyn, do you want to share a little bit about yourself before we go into our grounding?
I always like to ground. So yes, I call myself a mystic muse. And I picked that name 20 years ago, and it's interesting how energies grow. I also facilitate so many different things, but part of what I'm going to share about today is how we grow things, right? Like how we grow things with life. And it's beautiful to be on this call. There's Tina's on the call. I've known her for 20 plus years. And so she knows my birthday is tomorrow. So this is an extra juicy time. And so does Shirley and some of the others. And but I like the idea of the mystic. It's actually an aspect of kind of being with spirit. It has a feminine aspect to it energetically, And I feel like the core thing I do is actually bring in this concept of the sacred feminine, which is being with life, being with this, like all the native tribes work with the sacred earth, being with life and understanding the interconnectivity of life. You know, it's really, and understanding how to be with that and create with it. And then in that, really opening to the light, right? It's really juicy. So in my work, I work with individuals to have experiences like that. What I call soul embodiment practices, movement experiences where you actually embody your spirit in a more conscious living way. And tools that actually help you move it and breathe it. And since I've been on that path, tools have come in. And also I'm the muse, right? The creator. How do we create together? So how do we grow like with spirit? The mystic is tuned in with life, right? And create. So I love nourishing creation. I love watching it in individuals. I love watching it in groups. And I especially like understanding how we weave together. Even with the one-on-one, it's always a weaving with the world around us. And then learning how to do that with each other. So I feel, so my website's Divine Movements, which is fun. And what I do is invite people into that. And tools I use are often deep shamanic, earth-based practices that help us open in our bodies, and movement practices that help us open in our bodies to that light that we are, that actually is living inside of ourselves already. And there's a convergence at this time that's particularly activated, which we'll talk more about. But it's solstice, this particular time on planet Earth, all of that. So I feel like my work, and I came up with that in the 90s when I was doing more creativity courses and even working in corporations. That's actually how I met Tina, and in corporate training. And yeah, it's bringing these deeper tools into our life so that when we're walking in our days and we're making choices and we're living whatever unfolds for us, that we have that deeper, like tangible sense of spirit with us, like all of source with us. We're not alone. We're really supported internally. So a lot of the work I do is internal alignment so that we can open and live lives that are inspired, and we can receive that life, which is more stuff we'll talk about. Like how do we live that? So everything I do is about that. And really, I just like to play, you know, so it's kind of, I use the word magic a lot because I like to just create and play in the deep-hearted ways, in the real ways, and the grounded ways with my life and the people around me and the earth and with all of life. And I love getting to be here with Linda because we've been co-creating a lot over the last few years, and all of you. I'm glad you're here. I know a lot of your faces. Yeah.
Yay. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to come on at the last minute right before your birthday. So we all get to celebrate your birthday with you today, even though it's tomorrow, correct? It's on the 20th.
It is tomorrow. Can I share something though about that? So I was out Mount Shasta at the headwaters, these holy springs. It's one of the most holy places I know, where the water's flowing, and it's my actual symbol of abundance. And I've been having some physical stuff and was navigated, and I had stayed the night at the mountain, and I woke up and I was just sitting at the headwaters, the light shining on me on the rocks. And for those who know, it's just this overflowing amount of water just pouring out, and you can go and just drink from the springs. It's like straight from the mountain. And I was just asking for a blessing. And I was doing a prayer that my mom had talked about with Amma, because she had just seen Amma, and of activating my light and my golden energy and this sequence. And I'm like in the light with the flow, breathing it in. And I actually thought of Linda, because a year ago we were having a retreat. Linda and Tina and a group of us were there at the waters, and it was actually the next day, but the 18th that we were there. But it was like this beautiful feeling, everyone. And I'd already been texted by someone else who was in that group earlier, and I was just feeling Linda, and I was like, I wonder what I'm going to do with Linda next. And literally, as soon as I step away from the springs and look at my phone, there's this text for today. So it was, but that's about living in the magic and living in the flow, right? It's like, oh, I wonder what's going to show up next. I have some time this week. And it was like, oh, well, that's what's showing up next. So it's a perfect example of what we're talking about today. So
Yes, absolutely. Yay. I love that magic that happens. It makes you believe even more. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to go into a grounding to really get present here, to receive the incredible energies and gifts that are here for us since that full moon, moving into the solstice that's happening on Friday. And then, of course, we have the eclipse happening on July the 2nd. I was talking to a new astrologer friend of mine, talking about this 2-week portal that we have until the next eclipse. So there's some powerful energy moving, and I know Gwendolyn will talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But we just want to really just move into reverence for the beautiful universal energies that are here for us, here to ground us, here to align us, here to create ease in our lives if we allow it, here to remove the fear that we tend to have of living life. So that's part of the theme that's been showing up, I know, for me and for many of my clients. And in many ways, it is a common theme that Gwendolyn works with, for people to trust life. So that's a big energy coming in right now. So we're going to really ground in, open our hearts, really allow this beautiful energy to be here and to really bless us deeply at the cellular level with whatever gifts the solstice energy wants to give us through Gwendolyn. So right now, taking some slow, deep breaths. And just really allowing yourself to just consciously breathe in life and then exhale anything right now that you're ready to just release and exhale. It could be a thought, a worry, a situation. Breathing in life and then exhaling. Maybe it's just stress. Maybe it's just general doubt. Maybe it's just general fear. Whatever it may be, you just breathe into life and just exhale. And as you exhale, you want to let the body begin to relax. You want to just tell parts of the body that may be constricted or tight. Just tell those parts of the body to relax as you breathe into those parts of your body. You want to begin to soften. You want to begin to allow the body to just soften, release. Let your body be held as you breathe. And as you continue in this conscious breath, I want you to focus on your feet. Bring all your energy down to the bottom of your feet. And we're going to begin with the rooting into Mother Earth. Mother Earth loves you. She loves to anchor you in. She loves to help ground you. So just imagine your roots growing deep into Mother Earth, all the way to her beautiful center, letting your beautiful roots grow through all the layers of soil and rock, all the layers of possible oil and waters and springs underneath our beautiful planet, all the way down to her center, her heart. Wrap your roots around her heart. And I want you to imagine or sense that she sends you a beautiful pulse of life force energy up your roots. Let that beautiful energy flow up the feet, into the legs, into the energy below your belly button, filling up your womb space, your lower dantian with beautiful light. Really feeling the lower part of your body. Really feeling that part of your body. Dropping down below the belly button. Feel yourself there. Feel yourself sitting wherever you're sitting. And then let that beautiful light rise into the heart. And imagine there's a beautiful garden and it just blooms. Every flower in that garden just blooms. Sorry. Let all that beautiful energy bloom open your heart so that all these beautiful flowers in your garden begin to bloom. And then let that beautiful light in your heart rise straight up and out the top of your head and connect 300 feet to that beautiful divine light above. You can imagine it's a beautiful cloud of luminous light. You're just connecting to that divine light. You always are connected. This is just an image that reminds you of this connection. And as you connect to that divine light, you're going to invite beautiful energy of grace to come back in. So imagine a golden light coming right back down through the top of your head, flowing through the center of your body and letting your whole body fill with this golden light of grace. Asking grace to be here to assist you in any shifts and any awarenesses, anything that needs to clear or move for you. We're inviting grace in to create ease for you, knowing that you're always held in divine light. And in this place of receiving grace, I just want you to say, I am here now. You're claiming your sovereignty.
Here.
I am here now. Feel your whole spirit dropping deeper into the body as you say, I am here now. You're claiming your space in the universe, in this moment, as a sovereign being. And then I want you to say, I am here now by choice. Feel the power you have as a creator to choose to be here now. And you are here by love. I am here by choice and by love.
And by love.
I am here by choice and by love, and really feeling that beautiful divine love that created you, that you are, vibrating through your whole body. And allowing yourself to stay in this beautiful state of openness, a state of expansion, the state of groundedness, to receive deeply the gifts and blessings that are here for you right here, right now. So dropping into your heart for just a moment, just asking your deeper knowing, asking your higher self, is there a priority here that I need to be aware of? And just notice what your heart says and remember it. Is there a priority that your heart wisdom wants you to be aware of right here in this moment? Receive the message and remember it. And when you're ready, you can slowly stay in this state, but just open your eyes and still be here. Wonderful. Great. Okay, Gwendolyn, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you. So right now in this moment, as you've opened this energy, I invite you to really drop into your body and just listen to it. And just notice what parts of your body start speaking as soon as you listen. And if you're new to me, sometimes I pop and shake when energy flows. That's how it works. I dance and move. That's my thing, right? So just feel that. Like give that place that attention that just said, I need attention right now, right? And just breathe in with it. Just notice and just say to yourself, I hear you, right? There we go. So there's ways that part of this being in the earth and being in the feminine and being with is actually a lot more presence inside of ourselves. From this loving place that we just opened, right? That Linda just guided us into. So in life, and it's great, sometimes we can close our eyes for a moment. Sometimes we can even let our eyes be open, but just listen to what part of us has something to say. Yeah, because I have my degrees in economics and psychology, so I came into the realms I work in the earth-based shamanic realms with intellectual mind learning and bringing that into other learning. And what I know even from that realm is that most of what runs us is subconscious, what they call subconscious. And in all the transformational conscious creation tools that I'm part of and led, it was all about the subconscious. And that's like 80 to 90% of what we do. Which on some level is great because we don't want to tell our bodies to breathe and breathe and breathe. We want it to just do that when we're not thinking, right? And then notice what happens though the moment we bring consciousness into the breath, intention and awareness. it shifts, right? And we'll still breathe, but we're bringing our awareness in. So this idea of being conscious, awake is a word, is actually being aware really inside, and through that we connect with everything else, because our physiological body is part of the earth. It is earth. We are earth. We're not separate from earth. In the body, this beautiful exquisite body you've been given, we are earth. We are a part of the earth. And then every single cell and aspect of us is a part of us as a part of the earth. Right? So feeling that. And in that, we're part of life, the earth, and life actually includes death. All this nourishing life energy grows out of compost and dirt, things dying and falling apart. And even when we were breathing, right, there's the in. So we take in oxygen, we draw it in, we breathe out. But all the air we breathe out can actually get utilized too by the earth. The trees are doing the opposite for us. Right? It's that dance. So that's how the organism, the earth is this living thing where everything's interrelated and everything's connected. So there's this physical earth, and then there's the energy that we're connected to beyond the earth. In the universe, the light, the stars, and even that's very physical. We take in light through our skin, through our body. Right? So this is just taking a moment to really be with our bodies in the earth, because part of really living our lives and our light is being in our bodies. In fact, that's the key. Because that's where our consciousness resides. That's where our choice is. That's where we both take in and give out. We receive and give life through this body, this being. And then we do that with each other, right? Linda and I and all of us that are here, we do that with each other. And then we create more life, right? And also we're resonating with all of life. We actually, in our hearts, feel the other hearts around us. And because we've intended together in this circle, in this moment, those that are here feel it. And when you tune in, because I'm inviting that intention in, you can actually open your heart and feel the energy we're creating in this creation, this call, right? Heart. Our hearts are actually regulating with all of the earth and everyone on it. They're listening, receiving, and our physiological body is. So we're actually getting so much information. One, it can overwhelm us. We're in earth. So it's like being in the water. If something moves in the water, it affects you. It's that all the time, even though we're not always in the water. So it affects both ways. So we send out things and we open to things, and then we just kind of swim in the water. And when we're really present inside of ourselves, embodied in, then we're connected to the light, to the source energy, right? And that's this consciousness that's here with the earth and with the light that's here, that we're part of. And we have this free will where we get to participate consciously. We get to choose to participate. Yeah. So there's a lot of words, but I want you to just notice your body right now again after I spoke. And what are you noticing just right now? What are you aware of, Linda? Just feeling your body.
I'm feeling lots of energy moving. I'm feeling the back, my spine. A lot of energy moving kind of in the frontal area here. There's energy moving down the the sides, the back of the neck, the shoulders for me. I feel definitely I feel the bottoms of my feet right now, and my legs, which usually I forget the lower part of my body, but I'm feeling that all my body right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, right? Because once we start giving something attention, it starts responding. You know how when we talk to plants, they grow better? when we have conversations with ourselves, we grow better. The things we say, but also how we receive. And there's so much information inside of each of us in every moment. And the truth is, we can't process it all with our heads. And thank goodness we're here on this call right now, breathing, living, able to celebrate life, right? At this peak sun time, solstice and full moon. Yeah. And just noticing whenever I give awareness to my body, like sometimes my stomach needs attention, noticing what's here. And we're also picking up each other's. So I'm going to invite you to do what we just did with Linda. And I invite you to acknowledge that there's everyone else we're connected to. And also for just this moment, and I'm going to invite you, if you can't really see me do it, but if you put your hand, this is a Donna Eden move, right at your pelvic bone, and you draw it up your center and close. So you put it right at your pelvic bone. I'll stand up. Put it, well, you can't see me, but pull it up and twist. We're going to just claim our own space for a moment. Yeah. And this, just for a moment, say, I am here now. There we go. I am here now by choice and by love. And I want you to notice that. And I also want you to say, I am in your name. I am Gwendolyn. Claim your space for a moment. Right? Because we're in this dance of co-creation. So get this. We're having to learn, and this has been the awareness for a while, how to fully be ourselves, realized, right? Self-realization, this energy of our beingness fully, that's what we're in relationship with the earth around us. And it's not either or. It's always both. It's and. And sometimes we can just claim our little cell space. I just think of it as a little, like we're little cells of creation. We can claim our little energy space for a moment and go, okay. And we have this permeable membrane. We're not leaving the giant thing, but we're just giving ourselves the attention. Yeah, there we go. And as we give ourselves the attention, what I notice, and most of us notice, is the parts that haven't been heard start speaking up a little. And some of them are just like, I just want to lay down and play. And some of them are like, I'm really scared right now. The earth is weird right now. Like there's a lot of signals coming. We're growing at a super rapid rate. I kind of think of it like teenagers because I hang out with one, but because my daughter. And it's like we're at super rapid growth with tons of hormones running and trying to process it all, but as a humanity. And so there's us, and then there's the individual that we are, and then there's everything else, which is that water, that grace, that flow that's actually holding us. Right? And so there's a way that we can be present inside of ourselves to really feel this energy. And then we can actually lean into the flow of creation that we're part of, whether or not we actually want to be. We're in it. And we can participate the way we choose to consciously. Our attitude, the way we participate is our choice. And as we do that, we become more co-creative with it because it's an interaction. It's a relationship. So I'm curious if you have any awarenesses or questions, Linda.
I am really feeling the grace and flow energy right now. I was just noticing that I tend to always have kind of neck and shoulder constriction and pain, and like I can't even feel that right now. Like that's not there. And I was just having this interesting awareness at the moment, going, "Wow, where did that go?" So that was kind of nice. It's like, wow, that's not there. That's great. So whatever I'm doing to make
So
that.
we're actually being in the flow, right? We opened up the energy and we stayed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're mainly water.
Yes.
Like a huge percentage of our physical body is liquid, like 70, 80%, depends on the body. It can be more. So we're actually floating. And if you've ever floated on water, you're not having to effort that.
Right.
And we all started out floating in water. That's what the womb's about, is little bitty floating in water,
Mm-hmm.
growing. So it might be that stage, not even teenage. We might be in the womb, right? But there's something holding us. And the bigger grace holds us. And life, the earth, is holding us. We are in her. I say her because I feel like that's the way I see it. But the earth is holding us. Yeah. And when we remember that, we do relax more. We're not driving the whole thing. And this is part of the magic, is remembering. Like, I wasn't feeling well a lot of this weekend, and I was having to do a lot of driving and ending up at Shasta. I mean, like intense physical stuff. But the perfect timing happened. My mom, who's actually on the call, actually we had agreed to meet because she was coming back from Amma, and Amma is this hugging saint, amazing being. And we decided to meet, and that's when my body got really sick. So there was support literally there for me and for Ariel. And I had this huge awareness earlier because my air conditioning was working some of the time and not some of the time. And I had it looked at that morning just thinking maybe I could get Freon in it, but they had to do all this testing. And it's not the Freon. It's this thing. Get this. The guy telling me this is so real life, right? He's like, do you know how your air conditioning works? It's actually an expansion valve that has a variable response. It opens and closes. And it pulls out the warm heat about 30 degrees and brings in the cool heat, and pulls out the warm heat and brings in the cool heat. Well, my expansion valve on my car isn't doing a variable response. It's either doing one or then it closes and does the other. And he's like, it's like magic how it works. And I'm like, he said the word 3 times telling me how it worked. So I had to drive, sometimes with my air conditioning working, sometimes not, and having to really go, wow, this is where my expansion valve is closed. This is where I'm not trusting spirit. One of the most powerful questions that someone asked me years ago, and it's really guided my spirit path for many years, is where am I not trusting spirit? Or where am I not trusting source? And always if I'm stuck or hitting a place, I'm not. And that's because the fears are so embedded. And even the week before, this deep pattern of mine came up with a circle of support that I got. And we all need each other's support. We're not done. We're all going to keep growing. Like, no one isn't growing on some level, however they are, if they're in their bodies, and probably outside of their bodies as well, but in this body human experience. So we're all growing in some way, because that's life. Life is either growing or dying, but it's one or the other. And if we're here in our bodies and we're breathing, we're in the life zone, right? But I was having to face some of my deepest rooted patterns and ways I wouldn't receive as much as I receive, as a life path of receiving. It's like ways I wouldn't ask. Ways I wouldn't ask for things, like I was stopping it, right? I could give and I could take in, but there was a stopping. And then of course my AC's sometimes working, sometimes not, because get this expansion valve. How funny is that? That there's even a thing in your car called an expansion valve. I laughed a little when he said it, but afterwards I just was cracking up because it's true, right? But I love how life is so real like that. right? Like I drop in and listen and meditate and ask, and I'm in the flow and I'm really in tune. And of course I get a text when I'm doing that from Linda. When I, the things with the cars are actually beautiful analogies. Nothing's accidental. Everything's interconnected. In fact, when you first get on a spirit path, you start noticing that, the synchronicities. And then when you really walk a spirit path, you can't actually keep track of all of them. Although I've learned not to take them for granted, like to take the time to appreciate them, but you can't keep track of all of them. Like Linda didn't know I was at Shasta, where we were a year ago at this time, to do this call today, where we were at Shasta a year ago on this date, right? On the eve of my birthday, which I got to have a wonderful birthday with my beloved friends who were there on the retreat, and my mom and my daughter. So I'm bringing in the examples because life, this is the living, right? Where we interact with people, where our car AC goes out, right? Where am I not allowing, releasing, and opening allowing that to be an ongoing experience? That's another question to ask yourself. Where am I stuck in the valve, right? Am I just about releasing, which this time we're in is like nonstop releasing. If you haven't grieved in the last month, you're a pretty rare person at this point. We're letting go of old ways of being and doing, even in our whole world, in our culture. And there's grief as we let go. There's a feeling that comes with letting go that's actually natural. It's natural to feel the letting go. And we have such deep patterns inside of us, sometimes we don't know how to do that. And we can't even do it by ourselves. Like even this moment with Linda, when we're with another person, there are ways our body regulates that it won't let us heal by ourselves. That's why we need sessions with other people. It's why we need groups, because there's physiological things that won't drop in unless there's another with us. When we're by ourselves, we have a little bit of a survival response running, and we'll drop in a lot, but there's a little bit that runs physiologically until there's another, which creates a safety. Another that's dropped in, that's holding that safe response. This is why we need each other. And this is how we co-create life together. We're designed to collaborate and co-create. That's this concept of the feminine. It's the way the earth moves and works. Yeah. Yeah, and it's this awakening that's happening right now, that we're all here together, that we're all here in this moment creating. And it works the other way. So it works in terms of we can regulate with another. But get this is the prayer circle, right? This is awakening. When we pray with another, when we intend with another, we actually expand our capacity. Because we're always praying for ourselves and them. We are holding the vibration of the prayer. So we're always, like when we pray or we bless another, we're actually being a blessing, blessing another. So the going out has that. And the receiving has when we allow another to be with us, when we regulate off them or others, then we can receive. So feeling that energy, even as I'm bringing up, there's a knowing in your being that's awake right now. It's like, oh, and then even for the play some today, choosing our lives, being fearful of life. And then that's very connected to that variable response, right? And you know where that often is? I feel that in myself right now in the field and in the group, and I often notice it in myself. It's often right, the doorway between the, right at the thoracic, right between the upper half and the lower half. So your entire gut is designed to be instinctively responsive. And it's actually designed even to separate you from your heart so that no poisons and toxins go to your heart, right? Like, so everything goes down, like you take things in, and once it goes in there, usually it's always trying to get stuff through, or it tries to get stuff out, sometimes. But everything in your physiology has a lot of things about not getting the toxins into the blood and into the heart, because that's life. And your body's operating, most of the mechanisms are designed to keep you alive. Even if they don't work to do that sometimes, like they create other issues, that's what's happening. So your gut, which is your instinctive body, and is right in between your heart and your creative center, where you create with life and the earth. And this is, our power chakra, right? It's where energy comes from. One of the places energy comes from. So understanding how our creative energy, our heart, and then this energy in between, our power, but it's also where a lot of our protective mechanisms that have been running from our stories, from our physiology, from our lineage. I know Linda did a call on Monday night with the full moon, and like these old patterns with money, but all of our fear, it might show up in other parts of our body, but the core of it is also held there, because all our physiology about fear is there, and then the back of our head. And if we're going to move into a world and live lives that are actually about being in the trust and the flow, notice I started there, and that energy is still here holding us as we give attention to the parts that aren't receiving it, that are disconnected from it. Because we've been wired in our survival mode and in our way of being to not trust life. Because we could die, and that's true. And the truth is we will die, actually, presumably in this body. And that's okay, right? Because that's part of life. It's okay to acknowledge that, because pretending like that's not going to happen is exhausting. Everything we pretend like we don't acknowledge runs us. That's the subconscious. It's like, oh, that has to be something we don't consciously bring in. It's like, no, we're going to die. Not yet, not this moment. We're here now, but we're going to. And our fear of that has run our lives. And it keeps us from moving forward. It keeps us from growing. It keeps us from asking questions. It keeps us from moving to a new place, because we're scared of what we're going to let go of, because it's connected to all those things of letting go. Which is interesting, because it's also connected to birth. When we came out, we let go of the womb. And every time we've moved since has energy. Right? So I'm acknowledging this, and I'm really curious. You can put something in the chat. And Linda, if there's any awarenesses going on, like this is stuff, I call this embodiment, like embodiment. We're really talking with the experience of life in our bodies, because this is how we start to co-create. We want to go create without listening. And every earth-based culture and the feminine itself is this energy of opening and listening, because it can be a really simple movement that's needed when everything's ready to grow. Like the flower in your heart is your flowers, the buds will grow in their moment that they're ready to grow, but there's a nourishment that's happening. And what we're doing is actually tuning in to that soil of your being, and how do you create? Because as soon as you tune in and are a yes, the actual creating is easy and happens. And life's waiting for us to line up with it. Right? The grace is here. All of it's here. And it's waiting for us and the natural timing of all the pieces to line up with it. Not even a pressure just on us. Because there's a timing to growth in life. Yeah.
So I keep hearing this question: how would I live life if I had no fear of death? How would I create if I had no fear of death? How would I interact in life with others if I had no fear of others dying? So for me, I tend to always notice one particular thing that I tend to have a deep fear about. And since I'm a mother with one child, the fear of losing that only child, I think, is one of the greatest fears I constantly as a mother deal with.
Yeah.
And so, this question is really interesting. How would I create and live life if I didn't fear death, either of myself or of another? And so that like really opens up why I just feel like this heat moving through me right now as I'm asking that question.
Yeah, because that was actually in my early shamanic work. That was part of a shamanic journey. Um, the way he would have us go in, we'd go in different ways, but one of them was to actually sit there and face your worst fear
Mhm.
and use that as the entrance in to a deeper place.
Wow.
And mine was Ariel, losing my child. It
Yeah.
was that.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have so much fear of my own death.
Right. Yeah. I don't really.
But get this, because I love my child, I had an experience of almost dying in Hawaii 4 years ago in this wave. And all around me, death was like, people kept talking about people dying on the big island, like nonstop. I was like, Spirit, you're scaring me. Something's coming. Because synchronicity was really scary at that point. I was like, wow. And when I went there before, it was right before I got pregnant. I'd been like, I'm ready to go in the volcano. I'm done. If I'm done, I really feel like I'm done with life. I'm okay if I go now. And I didn't. So I was in the same place, ended up going to the same retreat center on my journey through Hawaii, super cheap deal for a couple of days. And then I go to the ocean, and I'd been swimming, trying to find joy, trying to find the dolphins, but I couldn't because I wasn't being that. I was trying to push it. Floated some, and then I was coming in, I got caught by this wave, and I knew in that moment, it was a huge wave. I thought I would get out. I knew in that moment, like it was an extended moment of I could come down and be done. Like I felt my conversation with God going, I would like a little more. I actually really want to be here. I have a lot I want to do. I really want to be here. I'm like, I was like, it was that suspended moment of I want to live. I really want to live. And the part of me that had been kind of like, I'm okay going, I'm okay going. I was like, no, I really want to live. I had to ask and say, I'm here, I'm calling it and I want it 100%. And then it's like, get crashed down and come out. And from that moment forward, something in my whole being shifted where everything became a bonus on a level for me. And it was right after my birthday that many years ago. I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago. But so it's a very powerful question to ask yourself. Say it again, Linda. What would I?
So how would I live my life if I had no fear of death? How would I create my life if I had no fear of death? And then I added of myself or of others. And I'm similar to you in that I feel like I worked through that fear of death back when I was younger. I had some huge fears of death when I was younger, and a lot of that has gone away. Doesn't mean that if somebody told me to jump out of a plane, I wouldn't have to face that again. But that's not something that stays constant in my head. It's more around the death of others I love deeply is really where I feel actually the most fear. That's my personal experience.
Yeah. And it's actually our greatest fear because really on an energetic level and the earth-based practices I work with, we're here to serve life. We're here to create with life. So the creations we have the most connections to, we want them to live. We actually feel alive when they're living. That's one reason I like the word muse, because I love watching others be creative on their own and together. And I do a lot with sacred movement and dance and watching a room full of people in their bodies dancing inside themselves, but also dancing with others and how that generates energy. It's so precious. And everything that we're creating in our lives, whatever it is our little bit of earth. It can be humans in our lives. It can be animals. And those are our greatest fears is our death and or the others we love's death. And I remember that from a child. I was scared a lot that would happen to people around me. That's one point it started coming in. And it's also, this energy of why we don't lean in and trust life. The truth is we're going to die. And so are those we love. And if we move from the place of being tuned in and listening and trusting life, we'll get a lot of the information that'll suggest maybe we don't want to die right at this moment. I'm sure we've all had moments where we've known to call someone or we've known to reach out. We've also known, I've had moments where I've had an intuition and I didn't reach out, and it was the last time I could have reached out with that person. And it's okay, because when I drop into it, I'm like, every moment we've shared creating with anyone else and any part of life is precious and it's present. Like, even if we don't get another one, that moment still is, it's like an art. It's a piece of art. It's a living gift inside of us. And we're at a time, you know, there's Brene Brown's quotes about, you know, midlife. We're all in midlife. It's like, we're at a time where the things are going to change anyway. Things are going to die anyway. Some of your favorite places, if you live in Austin, are going to disappear. Some of the places you love, some of your favorite teachers are going to pass on. Some of your favorite, like, things are changing. You might have to move to a new place. You might not even say, oh, you might have said, I want something different or new, and then you have to move to a new place. You're like, well, I didn't want to have to move. And that's not how nature works at all. It's always moving around. That's one reason divine movements, right? Being in the flow means you're actually in the movements and you're present with them. And then you're in choice with them. Like, well, in this moment of flow, what am I choosing? Right? And so feel that part of you that chooses, the part of you that's conscious and aware. And then as you do that, feel that part of you in the body that actually hesitates. Or might totally say, no way. Right? Whatever it is. But feel that part of you in the body. And that's like one of the children that needs to get in the car, in the vehicle. And you might not give it everything it needs. But if you don't take a moment to stop and breathe with that one, nothing will go well. So we all have parts of us that need our attention, so we will grow. So we will go, which is so we will grow. Part of the drive to take my daughter this weekend to this summit in Northern California, we drove near Paradise, California, which is where the fires just came in hours, and like 10,000 structures, homes burned within less than 12 hours, and people had to go. They didn't get any choice, because in that moment of creation, that's what was happening. And that's one reason we get scared, because something in Mother Nature might happen. But the truth is, if we're tuned in, we're the most likely to know what to do in relationship with it. And if we're tuned in and we're in the flow, we can drop intentions in. This is how co-creation works in the most magical ways. Right? I was really tuned in, sitting by my absolute favorite water flow, in the light, flowing, and curious about Linda and what, you know, it came in. So I don't know if I created that or I received it, because when we're in tune, it actually happens like that. Do you notice that? Yeah. You think of someone calling them, but they might be thinking of calling you. Well, in tuneness just kind of starts orchestrating stuff. Right? But it's also trusting that. That's part of the trust. It's like, oh, if I'm supposed to go here, I went on that road trip. My AC was 50-50. It's 90 degrees in California and lots of driving with the windows open. And I even had a physical thing happen. My body got crashed really bad, tired, and my mom was there. In the perfect timing of the place we just randomly picked to meet at. You can't write this stuff. Most of my life you can't write. Because that's how magical life is when we pay attention. Right? So this attention with ourselves and with what's happening around us, also the attention when we're present with ourselves, and we can start to notice what's happening in and in front of us and where we're just guided to go. I've had more magic show up at Starbucks and grocery stores than anywhere else. I'm just going to tell you. Because that's where I go. It's not that Starbucks and grocery stores are inherently more special, but it's where I'm guided to go at moments. If I was a sports person, I'd probably have magic show up at a sporting event. But that's not my natural flow choice. But I've gone to them at times, right? So you understand, this is like, and what would you do if you weren't, how would you live if you weren't afraid of death? How would you just lean into life and lean into that current? And what happens when we lean in, I want you to breathe this energy of leaning in right now in your body. It's like a soft, feel your body leaning in really softly, letting your body be soft, and you're just leaning in. It's like you're leaning into a body. You could feel it like that. You're leaning in. You can lean back in. You're leaning in. So you're floating, but there's also the warmth that holds you. Feel that energy. And what if you leaned in just a little more? And then what if you just invited something in? Like, I'm curious how some unexpected resource or money could show up today. Or a magical conversation. And then you just let it go because you're held. You don't have to do anything. You're completely leaning into life. You don't have to figure out anything. You're actually in a surrendered, awake, conscious, present space. Leaning in. And notice what happens when you lean in. You actually feel that in your physiology. That relaxed state. And feel how you open to receive. Like, notice it even in your body. You're not making yourself open to receive. You're just leaning in and softening, and naturally the membrane opens. It's designed to receive, right? And as you do that, feel that light in you, right? This full moon's been activating us. Feel the unique light that you are, and feel it all the way from your pelvis, all the way through your power choice center and your heart, and really feel that earth light that you are, this creation that you are in life, here to bring forth in this moment, not even another moment, just in this moment, like what's wanting to live, what's bubbling through you, and let your heart really open a little more. You're held, and just let your heart, just like let your little one, let that creative, let that core innocence that just wants to live and create actually be here. And let it have some space. Feel yourself leaning into support. Feel the strength of the one who chooses to lean into support. That guardian parent in you that wants to make sure life is living. So there's that creative energy, and then there's that nourishing creation energy. And you're being held. And right now, just let your heart open and let it open, and just, it's kind of an ask. It's also just a dropping in. It's just let yourself be a little more you. Let a little more you come out. Knowing that not only are you leaning in at this time, all of the energy beings that walk on the earth and in the heavens are here with you. All of that is here. As you lean in, letting your light fully be here. Even with the parts of you that hesitate, letting them have space and letting your light fully be here, knowing that all of this is held. It's not only held just by you, it's held in what you're leaning into, which includes all of your heart connections. Every being you're connected to through your heart and your body, all of the life, so feel that energy, all of the life energy you're connected to. Just in this moment, feel your presence, and you're leaning, and you just draw in as much life as you want so that that creative essence of you can actually expand out. Yeah. Even if there's fear, letting that be here. Letting that energy expand out. Knowing that you're held. And as you do that, start to call in, start to feel the web of connection, the threads of connection from who you've been that are useful in this moment, and the web of connection of where you're growing. Yeah, where you're growing. And feel the energy of where you're growing, the light and all the other life force there actually drawing you to it. You're not even efforting, you're being drawn to it. Yeah. Feeling life activating in you, held in you. And feeling just the strength of this circle. Each of us doing this together creates an amplified field together of growth. Nature grows together. Life grows together. And just notice what magic's here. Notice if you have a color or a plant or a flower or a sensation in your body, and just notice it. Yeah. And let it just grow with your attention. Yeah. Yeah. Noticing that it's just here in this moment, just like the flowers. And the life that lives through you, that you're connected to through time and into creation, is always here. That's the vertical. And then in this horizontal moment of time, this is what's creating. Feeling each other in this garden. And then as you feel this connected energy, I want you to bring in, really acknowledge that part that's still not growing quite at the speed, and just give it a space in this creation. And also the one that's, and it might be that part, the one that's grieving. Because as you grow and expand, you are actually letting go of where you've been. And just let that grief be here. Yeah. We're just giving the expansion the attention, because this moment where there's so much light, Friday's the longest day of the year, solstice, there's so many blessings. This is like the solstice time is when all these beings come to help us out. So feel that lightness of being as who you are. Feel it in yourselves. Feel it thriving. So that you're actually that energy of life, thriving, tuned in, connected, centering through the heart and the body. And that energy, that and that deep love, that love of and compassion for everything, ourselves included. Ourselves included. Yeah. No parts of us that are grieving and physically experiencing things, all of that, letting them all be here, but feel the bigger expanded you holding, expanded us holding that energy. And then just keep opening to what would be kind of what you're curious about. And what you'd like to call in the most easy and simplest of ways, like a new house or a new creative partner. But don't figure it out. Just like you can just, it's like you drop things in water and the ripples go out. Drop the intentions in, resources. And everyone just feel that energy of dropping some intentions in, and notice if you constrict in your body, which you will, possibly. Breathe in. Acknowledge whatever it is that feels constricted. Don't ignore it. Give it a place. Parts of us that don't want to grow, that are loyal to old ways of protecting and surviving, loving those parts, letting them have a place, and also letting this bigger, expanded you be here. Yeah, it's really allowing that choice to be here, and your presence to be here. And as you feel that, and you feel how all of life, all of us on the call, but all of life is doing its movement, flow, convergence in, to, in, with, from, to you. All of life in this moment, even in the places of resistance, all of life is flowing in, with, from, to you. All of life is flowing in, with, from, and to you with grace and joy and love and light. And feel yourself leaning in even a little more, that you can drop in a little more to that. That everything is part of life. Every street sign, computer, money, everything's part of creation. Everything. It's in it. It's with us. It's part of it. It's in this liquid flow creation juju. Yeah, and then I'm going to invite you to bring yourself in if your eyes are closed. We've been going out, and really allow yourself to open your eyes and stay connected to this space. Yeah. Stay connected. Keep your eyes open. And I invite you first right now to just say, I am in your name. Claim your space. I am Gwendolyn.
I am Linda.
Claim your space. But feel you're not disconnected. You're in your space and you're connected. Do you feel that difference of being even more in this state? What happens is if you drop things in, like I really want this burger with a salad and grilled onions, and you find it somewhere exactly the way you want. That's what I did. You drop things in, however you drop them in. How can this show up? Right? You just drop it in. You're not figuring it out. You're dropping it in. How can the resources show up? How can the next up? Just, yeah, drop it in. Just let it from this place. And this is a state right now in your being. We've activated this in your being. So you actually have conscious, awake knowledge of it. And you can breathe in and reactivate this space in you. And if there's another, it'll get even juicier, right? But this is the Awaken Your Life Prayer Collective. We do this when we pray. We're bringing this energy into the collective right now. And there's gonna be world prayers all day on Friday, this world oming for the solstice. We are becoming more resonant co-creators with this earth body, with life. This is what's happening. It's exquisite if we don't try and hold on to the way we did it. And since all of that's our deepest fear responses, we need this moment so we can love them. So we can love the part of us that runs from protection and fear. Right? But if we are living life without being afraid of death, then we're actually in the love. Because it will, when I remember this, and I don't always remember this, I get spun out too. There's a lot to spin out in. But the more I'm in this, the more I live this in every aspect of my life. Profoundly. And death has happened, even in the last few months, to people. And life's happening. And it's all happening. Yeah, there you go. But feel this in your awake state, because you can live in your life in this state. And the last little piece I want to mention, we often do this when we travel. I don't know if you notice this, but when you travel, because you're not in your old mode, you have to flow more. Some people try and control all their travel. And whenever I try to control it, I get frustrated. And you can have intentions like, I'd like to meet here, and I'd like to do this, and I'd like to do that. But you actually have to trust a lot, because they might not have the food you want. They might not have this. They might not have that. But somehow there's a lot of magic that shows up because we're not in control. But we can voice our needs. Like, I'm not going to eat wheat because I don't. But, it's like whatever I need. When we're conscious, we can speak our needs and our truth and be in the flow. That's where the trust is. When we are tuned into ourselves, we're actually trusting ourselves, and we speak for ourselves. The deeper trust asks us to be in tune with ourselves, because a lot of what we've been taught is to not be. And our deepest wounds are all self-betrayal. We can feel betrayed if someone leaves us or someone dies, and there's a deep grief in that. But our wound is always where we basically disconnected from our knowing and from spirit and from ourselves. But that's where we're cultivating trust. And in this moment, it's like, oh, how do we do this? Right? And by listening to our bodies, by presencing ourselves individually and with each other, this moment with each other is key. We have to do both. We have to lean into the people around us and to life. When we isolate, sometimes that's when we do it for self-love, that's one thing. But when we isolate and don't engage, there are things we need as human living beings that require interaction. It's our deepest need, is to feel connected and belonging. We need nutrition to live and breathe, and we need connection. These are our deepest core needs as humans, physiologically and in the psychology and all the other things. So we have to learn to lean into each other. And from a world that's been isolated and solo focused, learning to lean in and co-create with others, this is the playground. And this is, we only have so much time for this call today, but this is a lot of the work that I do with groups and with individuals to help that capacity in you, to help grow that capacity. Yeah. Do you have anything to share, Linda? There's a very different energy here right now.
It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Well, you shared some very tweetable moments that I'm just like, whoa. So you saw me looking, I was trying to take notes from some of the powerful things you said. I love this what you started with it, but then you've also ended with it, how we really need each other, how we really need to be in the presence of at least one other in order to make deeper shifts and changes and deeper healing than attempting to try to do it on our own. And then also, of course, how it's magnified and amplified when we do groups, which of course you and I have both experienced. Yeah. So that was really very profound to be reminded of that.
And let me just add, and it's easier.
Yeah.
The energy moves more naturally and easier when we actually do it by ourselves, which I have a deep-rooted pattern of that.
Yes.
When I remember that I'm doing it by myself and I could lean into life, and sometimes I need to run the pattern for a moment. Yeah. But then when I lean into others, it's actually so much easier. The energy just starts moving it.
Yes. Yes. And then another awareness, as you're talking, there's interesting, we were talking about, death and how many times we don't really live our lives because underneath we're really fearing this concept of death, but really it's actually part of life. Death is part of life. And then the other awareness I had, and this awareness has been coming up, I don't know, maybe for the last month or so in many different ways, through books I'm reading, people I'm talking to, mentors, that kind of thing. Life is not personal. That's a big one that's been coming up. We tend to take our life so personally, when truly life, it's not all about little me. I mean, it's truly this big expanded thing, and we want to try to fit it into this tiny little, box and say this is me, and really we're limiting our experience of life when we take life too personally.
Right.
And it actually amplifies the pain and the suffering, because a lot of that pain and suffering isn't all ours. We're taking it too personal. We're actually feeling a lot of the pain and suffering in many cases, even the fear. We're actually feeling the collective.
Right.
And we're taking it so personally, like it's ours, and our brain is trying to figure out and tell all these stories, personal stories. And then we just amplify our own personal pain and suffering and fear. So the message I've been getting is stop taking life so personally. Really step back and really like expand, and like you said, expand and lean into life, but don't take it so personal. It's going to literally make things lighter. And I feel like for me, I've actually felt a deeper sense of happiness and peace when I just tell myself, you know what, I don't need to take any of this personal. None of it. Things that I would even typically call personally mine, I'm just like, nope, not going to do that. And it just lightens everything immediately.
Right.
So that's just another awareness that's coming through as part of this movement.
Right, because we're in the flow of creation and it's happening. You know, cougars eat deer. I mean, everything just happens, and we can try and figure it out, but the figuring it out and the understanding is actually what gets in our way of being.
Exactly.
And being is like just being with, and then we can be in choice with the moment and what we notice and let the color in. And it's this exquisite ongoing creation that's never ending, and we're part of it. And we do, especially with those around us, it's easier to take it personally because we feel a deeper connection, life force energy with those around us. And that's beautiful too. That's something to love too.
Right.
So, but it's like, yeah, it's all really happening and a lot's happening. And the other thing that's beautiful that we just did is when we don't take it so personally, we allow it to be in what I call the bigger dance. We allow the field to hold it.
Yes, thank you. That was what I was
trying to. And we're not going to figure everything out, but the field itself will orchestrate the pieces of support. And when we look in the direction of someone, I've had this experience, I'm going to do this kind of fast, but in ecstatic dances, everyone's moving around. People are often having very intimate experiences. I'll often feel in my being someone having a moment across the room.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so my natural instinct is to move towards that one and support them. But what over the years has shown me, and also witnessing the blindfolded dances and all the movement practices, and sometimes I'm guided to go, but often I'm not because I'm in the middle of another movement.
Right.
And what I'll do is I'll look and I'll have the thought, someone needs to go over there. And within less than a minute, someone's moving right there.
Yes.
Like life is organizing it all. And we cannot possibly figure it out in these heads of ours.
Right.
It's way too complicated.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but acknowledging it, like when we pray for someone, we open up a space with it.
Yes.
Right? We create, but then we let the bigger field orchestrate all the pieces. Exactly. Because everything's complicated. And one of the fears we have if we lean in is that we won't be able to meet it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the sessions I do and a lot of the work I do is what parts of us are blocking us from trusting ourselves and trusting our ability to meet it.
Right.
When it shows up, when something comes to us, when we're trusting and it's not personal, then we can meet whatever shows up and it can surprise us.
Right.
But if we feel this inner ease and trust, then when the things that shake us or mess us up, we also feel that energy holding us, going, oh, the grace at this moment is my car not working. Okay. Yeah. I can feel that. I can feel the money stuff and all the blah, but I can also feel, well, this man's very excited about telling me the magic of the expansion.
Exactly.
$1,500. I'm like, what? And I got to get on the road today. I'm like, not going to happen. But he was genuinely in it. It's like, it's amazing how it works, right? And I was like, I can still feel this magic with him.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this, and then also when someone's fear comes our way and we take it in, we do take it personally and we create that way. So becoming like enjoying that, but definitely this thing of, I give it to the dance. Like I open to the dance. I open to what I'm calling in to receive, which is usually, how can I open to receive more love? Yeah. That's a question I ask. How can I open to receive whatever it is you want to receive? I'm asking for assistance from spirit to help me open to receive it.
Wow.
because it's there. It's one of my core questions. How can I open to receive usually more love, more support, whatever I'm needing, that my human self, so having lots of compassion for our human selves, that we're learning how to live in a state of trust and grace.
Yes.
That we've been living in a culture and a wiring that's towards fear and protection.
Right. And of course, here in the United States specifically, this whole idea of this rugged individualism, like I have to figure it out all by myself and pull myself up by my bootstraps. I'm very programmed. I've realized for me personally, I have a strong programming in me that I've been unprogramming.
And get this, do you want to unwind that programming right now? When I had this conversation with Carissa, who's in my thing, we were talking about it. So get this. This is so fun. So what our commonality is as Americans is our do it by ourselves. So do you feel how that creates a loop?
Oh yeah.
So what connects us is our do it by ourselfness.
Right.
That's our belonging.
Yeah. Right.
So in this moment, we can choose the belonging that's underneath that.
Exactly.
The life that's underneath that.
Yes.
Because we've actually been, especially Texans, because I'm a Texan, Texas is the Lone Star State. Right. It's really embedded there. So, but that energy of realizing that's actually where we create connection, and then realizing that the connection's there, and then we're actually not doing it by ourselves.
Right.
Right. So, but it's the deepest, it's a core thing. And if people need more support on that, it can be really wired in our physiology.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be really,
but I love what you said about, I just had this aha moment of how the truth is that the field is so much more intelligent beyond our understanding, that we sometimes have this idea, I've got to figure this out. I've got to do this myself. I've got to, we use I a lot. And I just had this moment of going, oh my gosh, in every moment, if something gets too heavy, you feel you're the one that has to do it. You can literally give it to the field. Deepak Chopra talks about that.
Yeah.
That field of all possibilities. That's another way to maybe think about it or sense it, is you just give it to the field of this all-knowing and higher intelligence. I think Tina's having a moment.
Source. And you can actually, it's really powerful to physically hand it to.
Yeah.
Like I will do okay, Spirit, I'm handing this to you. I'm handing this.
Exactly.
I was just listing all the things I'm giving to the field. So if anyone wants to do that, do it.
Yes.
FYI.
Thank you. Nice to hear your voice.
Yes.
But yeah, I just had that moment, because there are those moments where here I'm telling my clients, surrender it to God. And that's the same thing. You release it to this all-knowing field of energy that connects everyone. And there's definitely a wisdom in there that will step in, just like you saw in your dance field, when you get this sense, oh, this person needs support and you can't do it at the moment. You can't do it at the moment, but there's definitely somebody or something else in the field that can. So that's also another way for us to really trust this divine wisdom that's really all around us, that we're in this beautiful, field ocean of wisdom, and we don't really trust and lean into it more, as you were saying. And I just had this beautiful visual of like, oh, we can float in the field. We can let the field hold these parts for us. We can ask the intelligence of the field to step in. We can call the field God. There's many things we can.
Of course, yeah.
But
it's when we physically do it, that's a subconscious teaching. Like, look, each time you were talking about when you do it, when you give it, I often bow. Like if I go to a dance or something, I'll bow to my day. And I'm like, I literally lay on the ground and bow and help me open to receive what I'm here to receive. And often to give what I'm here to give. Like it's, how do I surrender and open? But a physical movement wires the body with you.
Yes.
Like, give it to God. Like often I'll be running stuff. I'm like, okay, Spirit, I'm handing that to you. I'll like feel myself, hand it. When I need certain things, Ariel, you'll know, my daughter knows if I'm like, I need certain things to happen because there's a stress factor, I'll just start putting it out there. Like I'll just start, okay, parking place, this by this, this by this, this by this. And when I'm really in the flow and I'm not even questioning myself,
yeah,
because I'm just being it, everything happens. I mean, I get first class seats, things happen because I'm just like, I'm absolute trust that I'm handing it and it's being held.
Yes.
I'm not always there. Even when we're sick, even when things are happening, that's part of creation too, right? Like that's just what's serving the moment that needs to happen, because bodies need different things. They need rest, and all of creation needs different things to happen. So even though we might not know why something's happening,
right,
we're part of that movement.
Exactly. It's almost as what I'm seeing as you're talking, I'm seeing the field coming in and just like kind of knocking me on the shoulder going, hey, you over there, I need you right now. Come over here. And so it's like the field will use you. It's like God, divine source, this beautiful, intelligent field of energy will use you if needed. So you might be the one that gets tapped on the shoulder energetically to go and support that person in the dance.
Right.
Or it might be somebody else. Or you might get this sense of, I need to turn down this road and I don't really know why. And you turn down that road and there is a mother and a baby who needs assistance. You know, it's like really tuning into the field and being of service in that way. Sometimes people ask me like, I don't just know what my purpose is. Your purpose is to tune to the field and listen to it and then flow with it.
Right. To be tuned in, right? That tuning in, then you just naturally end up having the conversation. And then the next level is knowing that you have choice and voice in all the interactions.
Exactly.
Because we have this thing where we just sacrifice ourselves to the field and we don't have any say, and then we're victims of it. So that's another piece. So we just we lean in by choice. It's like when the Facebook feed you happen to be watching puts the prayer in that someone asks for, and you go, oh, well, I can pray right this moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm available at this moment. I might not always be available to answer every prayer that someone asks for, but at this moment, yeah, I can send love to that.
Yes.
Because in that moment, it came through for me to meet it.
Exactly. Yes. So on a deeper level, it's about not being afraid, as you said earlier, to meet life when it shows up.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting way that we, some people call it sabotage, our creations, our manifestations, is that we manifest it, it shows up, and we don't know how to meet it.
Right.
And then we, disassemble it, so to speak, or unmanifest it.
Well, we don't receive it.
Yeah, exactly.
At that moment.
And then somebody else will, in the field goes, well, if you don't want it, okay, I'm going to go over here and give it to this person. So the field will handle that too.
And it will come back if it's a natural thing for you to do. But the invitation is really at this time is when those moments show up, as much as possible to lean in, which is why the sessions I do, I often call them soul embodiment sessions. The more in tune we are,
right,
the more we can meet those moments, and we don't not see them. We don't not speak. And sometimes they can be in the most vulnerable of conversations where we get to a more raw, real connection with people.
Right.
So a lot of it is in our vulnerability. Our courage is in our vulnerability.
Yeah.
Not knowing things, saying, how could this happen? I'm curious how it could happen. I really, really, also vulnerable in our joy. I really, really want to do this. And I'm sharing it, even though my protective self would be like, oh, don't share it with everyone. It's like right now I'm guided to share it.
Right.
Even if you're not interested, I'm going to share it. Right. Yeah. But I'm not going to second guess what you're going to do. I'm going to go with the intuition and the movement I'm guided to do.
Exactly.
I'm going to trust the life that's showing up here, even the no and the yes.
Beautiful.
And the sessions, I wanted to say I know this has gone long, so I know we need to complete.
Yes.
I'm offering a special 20-minute session for $33 or an hour session for $88, just one for that price, for the people who listen to this video, just for this time, just for the next, it would have to be within this month, the next few weeks, because of the astrology. This week around solstice, this 10-day period around solstice with this full moon to the eclipse is a portal. And I'm offering it mainly for that time, but you could have a couple weeks, but to clear whatever it is that'll help you, that you need so that you can trust spirit more.
And so what is going to be the best way? I'll put it into the chat. What's the best way for them to contact you about that?
It'll probably disappear off the chat too, because you can't always see the chat later. But we can put it underneath. I'm on Facebook, so you can find me, Gwendolyn Terra. And then my email is gt@divinemovements with an S, so gt@divinemovements.com.
Okay.
So you can email me, and only if you've heard it here, then you can get that special. And it's a phone session, but it's to really activate this. And I've had some profound, really raw openings. So the spaces that I can hold, because life invites us into the spaces that we can then become a being and support and energy for,
Yeah.
are really beautiful. And so if you feel guided to work with me, you would need to pay for it by, well, you need to do it from this call, just mention from this call, and it would need to be paid for by the eclipse for sure, and preferably this week. So
Wonderful.
Just a bonus, and I'll be offering more things too. So if you email me, then you also get, I can put you on my email list for things.
And then we mentioned Shasta next week. So
yes, Shasta.
The 30th, I will be on that mountain, and we have spots for 2 more people. I can feel them. So whoever these 2 beautiful people are, you need to get a hold of me. So it starts on Thursday, and we're going to meet at a restaurant in Shasta, and then on Friday and Saturday on the mountain. Sunday, we're going to be at Alma Gardens. We have some other possible surprises that we're going to
I need to tell you something about the Alma Gardens. My mom, who's Kathy Mary on the call,
yes.
She knows the people who started the gardens.
Oh,
and they actually had this vision. They're actually Mother Mary Gardens. They had this vision.
yes.
They went there of Mother Mary over the mountain.
Oh my God, how beautiful. Yes. It's a very sacred, beautiful place. So if you're feeling called, it's definitely a feel the field, trust and show up kind of a calling. We're going to be doing some really deep transformational work on the mountain. Shelley Donati is the practitioner that I've invited to assist with past life regression. So we're going to be doing some deeper past life regression work on the mountain. I'm going to be doing some 101 learn how to channel kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, please talk to me. So you know how to contact me. If you're on this video, my number, you can just text me. I'm going to put that into the chat. If you are feeling that, oh, I need to be there. So anyway, or if you know someone, if there's someone that's coming up that you're thinking, you know what, I feel this person needs to be there. Feel the field. And then connect me to whoever that person might be who you feel needs to be on Mount Shasta next week with me and a couple of other beautiful souls. So anyway, I am so thrilled that Gwendolyn was here. I think we lost her connection. She may call back. But I just want to say thank you to Gwendolyn, all her beautiful magic and work and all the beautiful energy movements that happened. Gwendolyn alone is a transmission. So when you're in her energy and she's speaking, it's not even so much the words, it's really the energy that's moving in the field. So this is about really allowing what you receive to really integrate deeply, allowing yourself to lean more into life, noticing the places where you're afraid to lean into life. And over these next 2 weeks is portal time between the full moon that happened on Monday until the eclipse on the 2nd of July. This is powerful sacred time to spend time with yourself, spend time with others who can assist you in deeper healing and awakening. Have fun, enjoy, really set clear intentions around what you are desiring and wanting to really lean into life with, what you're wanting to manifest, and really being willing to just easily, gently, lovingly just let go of the old patterns that keep blocking you. This is, as Gwendolyn said earlier, this is a huge releasing time. So use this energy to your benefit. It's here for you. It's here as a gift. So I want to send lots of love to everyone. Thank you for all being on the call, for all those who will watch later. Mwah! Love you all. Blessings. Happy solstice. Happy full moon and happy eclipse. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.